Let's get some analysis now from Orhan Turkmenoglu. He joins us live from Ankara. He's a foreign affairs expert and former advisor to the United Nations and the European Union. He has more on this. Orhan, let's just take a look at the motivation that's behind this attack. We don't know which organization carried it out, but what is the intended effect here of attacking such a famous landmark area of Istanbul?
At this stage, I guess we need to make sure that whether the Istanbul, the governorate office has been targeted, because it was exactly in front of a governmental building. Whether it has been a coincidence or there was an early reaction from the attacker, suicide bomber, this has not been decided by the law enforcement agencies yet. Once this has been confirmed, I guess the entire political goal is the upcoming the voting within the Turkish National Parliament in relation to the withholding the immunity of the HDP MPs. The government had a different prospect and a different proposal. This is one of the issues. The second thing is that the Federation Declaration in northern Syria, as you might have followed a couple of days ago, this has been somehow did not reach that much reaction or let's say political echo within the international community. So it has been some kind of one of the regular news on the media. Now what is now being tried by the PYD and PKK, if this is confirmed that this attack claimed by the PKK, definitely they want to take attention and draw the attention of the international media and the political course into the northern Syria and the formation of some kind of the Kurdish unity or Kurdish federation in northern Syria.
And what kind of leverage do you think these groups are trying to apply to Turkey when they attack such a high-profile area like this?
I mean, the main leverage is creation of the fear among the society, and they are expecting the Turkish society to exert pressure over the government in terms of finding a way, a modality to get together, and the creation of a kind of political process between the PKK and the Turkish government, or HDP, you name it. But this is not the best way of carrying a political discourse. I guess this is the wrong step, and it's destined to fail in that sense. To me, the major pressure or major aim of this goal is convincing or forcing the Turkish government going back to the negotiation table.
And how do you expect the Turkish government to react? By all accounts, over the past few months, they've always had a very resolute and determined response.
Right. The pressure over the northern Iraq, especially in northern Iraq, will definitely increase, and it will be enhanced. Even if we a little bit broaden our imaginary life, there might be a permanent presence within the northern Iraq as well. The coalition with the KRG government, with the Barzani government, is going to improve, and there will be new formations within northern Iraq. Those new formations will be related to a common operations within northern Iraq, or coverage or permanent presence of the Turkish army in northern Iraq, even beyond the KRG borders at the southern part of northern Iraq. So those issues will definitely have impact on the Turkish northern Iraq policy and the northern Syria policy.
And Orhan, you're a former advisor to the United Nations and the EU. You're a foreign affairs expert. How does this change Turkey's position when it goes onto the world stage, be it the President, Prime Minister or Foreign Minister, when they go to talk to their NATO allies, they go to the European Union for talks on refugees, they go to the United Nations and so on? What does this sort of background of terror attacks do? How does it change the dynamic on the world stage?
Turkey is the side of trying to solve the refugee crisis within the entire Syria, and Turkey is one of the leading countries as far as we can see from the open sources that the major the political dilemma or deadlock will be solved through the ceasefire and then drafting of the Syrian constitution. I mean, in that course, Turkey is one of the leading countries together with other allies in the region and in the globe. So in that sense, the Turkish government's aim, within especially Syria and the ongoing EU negotiations, if we look at in a very fair perspective, what has been decided with the European governments and the European Union in relation to the refugee crisis, and then readmission agreement, and then visa liberalization agreement, those attempts are fairly good enough, or the first initial steps to resolve the Syrian refugee crisis. In that sense, I don't believe that the Turkish government has or will be having any reputational crisis or reputational damage in the eyes of the Western capitals.
Okay, and what about when there is a major terrorist attack? On the world stage, does Turkey find a solidarity with its NATO partners and European partners and so on? Or is that on the surface, and behind the scenes are international partners putting pressure on Turkey to do something different?
I'm just thinking on the contrary, because as a Turkish citizen, I would expect the European government or global key players to show the same attitude and the same, let's say, sensitivity when they showed the solidarity in the Paris attack a couple of months ago. So, in fairness, this is the missing part of the entire story. If we look at what happened right after the Charlie Hebdo attack or the other attack in Paris, all the world leaders were marching on the Paris streets. So I guess it will be fair, the Turkish government, to expect all the European leaders to get together and condemn all those terrorist attacks. Because this is not a political discourse. This is a fight against terrorism.
Okay, thank you very much for your analysis, Orhan Turkmenoglu.